My name is Lynn Zelmer, and I wrote a paper on the Internet should be regulated for our ethics class. Nearly 40 years ago, the Internet was created by a government agency for primarily being used by governments to share information between the companies. Slowly over time, we began sending emails, and then web pages became a popular means of communication, as well as blogs and virtual chat rooms. It wasn't until 1999, when Web 2.0 was first coined, that communication became a more intricate part in our lives. Facebook, YouTube, eBay, Twitter, Etsy, multiplayer online games, and a host of other communication devices arrived on the scene to bring the world online to a virtual community that had never existed before. These sites gave us a chance to communicate with friends and family, and slowly we learned that we could also communicate with the world. This is where ethics truly comes into play. When we live online, we create a different persona of ourselves. People who are shy and introverted can become a different person who is very outgoing and interesting. Unfortunately, this has also brought about the ability to voice their opinions in a negative context that they would not have done in real life. It is much easier to be critical and negative hiding behind a keyboard than if you have to deal with relations in real life. Online communities have also brought about bullying, adults pretending to be children, hoaxes, and scams. Slowly, new laws will be put into effect to try to protect people from such occurrences online, but even after the laws have been put in place, it will still take years for people to abide by them. Increase in teenagers on the web, thanks in part to the mobile devices such as smartphones, tablets, pads, and other devices, allow teenagers to quickly and easily access communications with their friends and family without the need to make phone calls. At this age, teenagers are very curious about themselves and the world around them, so they might not understand what types of websites to stay away from and people to not get involved with on the internet. Teenagers haven't experienced deceit in the way that they will on the internet with sexual predators and other people pretending to be someone they are not, which could potentially be dangerous. This is a big part of where parental controls come into play, with parents keeping involved with their children and watching what they do online. Unfortunately, this is also the age where kids are trying to fit in any way they can, which can cause an increase in bullying of other kids. Recently, this has had a substantial increase on the internet in the form of cyberbullying. Kids might believe if they go along with other kids at teasing peers online, they will then be part of a group. One of my favorite stories is last year, a football captain in Osseo, Minnesota, chose to make a difference in bullying. He decided to create his own Twitter account and logged in and give people who were being bullied some positive affirmations. Many of the other countries in the world are also working to create laws to protect their people from these sorts of attacks, and some have even gone to extremes to protect their people from the rest of the world. At one time, China had actually blocked Google and everything associated with Google for quite a while. But after a year or two, it was unblocked and everyone was allowed access to it. But China still controls the IP addresses and who is allowed and who isn't allowed within China, and what the Chinese people are allowed to view outside of China. Images are being uploaded all over the internet by anyone with any type of handheld device. The ability to manipulate images has become increasingly easier to do than in the past, with software becoming less expensive to purchase, as well as online sites that allow visitors to manipulate pictures. This is a great concern because a lot of pictures being manipulated can cause great harm and is usually targeted at public officials or to make the war look more deadly than it might be perceived. One famous example of this is when the LA Times photographer Brian Walsky had combined elements of two photographs taken only moments apart in order to improve the composition, to improve his picture. It's important to note, though, that Walsky did lose his job over this event, which shows that the country isn't willing to put up with this type of behavior. Ultimately, it can be difficult to detect photos that have been manipulated. One way to increase the ability to find these changes might be through the metadata that's hidden in each photograph. But for a professional photographer, they might always be able to make changes to that as well. But most people aren't aware of all the additional metadata found within pictures, which can also be dangerous for people who post pictures on Facebook and YouTube and anywhere else that don't know that they're also leaving a trail behind for stalkers and predators. In 1999, peer-to-peer file sharing became a popular way to share music and pictures without having to spend the money to buy the CD or the single. It appeared to be a good idea at the time because you could get music from anybody, anywhere in the world. It soon became a legal matter when Napster was being sued for millions of dollars because of copyright infringement laws. Because of this type of file sharing, Napster was sued for over $25 million in damages. And after this had happened, many other companies started popping up, such as iTunes, Rhapsody, and even Amazon.com, who would sell their albums for 99 cents, or you can purchase the entire album for much less than what we used to pay when we'd go to the store to buy one. The Internet is a worldwide conglomeration of computers that connects everyone to everyone else. Even with the laws that we place within the United States, that doesn't mean that other countries are also abiding by these laws. So people still need to be careful of what sites they go to, who they deal with, and where the website is actually located. Over time, both ethics and etiquette will become more defined and even expected from users than it is now. Even multiplayer games currently shun people for bullying and hurting other people, so that is starting to change. One day people may even be shunned from doing this, and eventually a lot of people just need to be educated on how to take care of themselves online and not have to depend on laws that are enacted to protect them.